Hello, this is David with the Time Rift Arcade. We do a lot of repairs and restorations, and you might be tempted to think that these old systems like these are the ones that need all of the work. So you might be surprised to know that we have to do a lot of repairs on these more modern arcades as well. And one of the more common things to fail in these 40-inch LCD screens is the backlight. Now what we have here is a 40-inch LCD from a recent purchase, and the backlight has burned out, or at least that's what we thought. The first thing we're going to do is use some alcohol to clean up all the sticky adhesive around the edges. I mean, usually we would wait to do that at the end, but it's hard to handle this thing right now because it's so sticky, so we'll do this first. So, before we begin, I wanted you to see exactly what the screen looks like in its current shape. We're going to wheel in our arcade crash cart. This cart can do many things, and generating a video signal is one of them. And here it is. You can hopefully see that the middle section here is darker than it should be, and maybe easier to see on a screen like this. Okay, so we're going to start taking this thing apart. It's going to be a bit like peeling an onion, as there are many layers. One thing we noticed right away during the disassembly is that several screws were in the wrong holes. This tells us that somebody else has been inside this thing before. So as we make more of these videos, one of the things that you're going to see is that probably half, if not more, of all the repairs that we do is actually fixing something that somebody else broke. I think in the past, these machines have been located at venues where the person tasked with fixing them either had no experience or very little motivation, or possibly not the correct tools, or some combination of those three. And so, when we take these things apart, sometimes there's no telling what we're going to find inside. All right. And so when we pulled off the diffuser, we found several more problems. First thing is, it's missing the usual standoffs that hold up the diffuser. They're just gone. And then when we removed the reflector to see the actual LEDs, well, you can already see one problem. We decided to go ahead and replace the backlights with new ones just to be sure that wasn't the only problem. And that's when we noticed this. The edge connector on the PCB is broken. Now I checked with the meter and there is no conductivity to the connector. What's worse is this connector is wired in series with the one next to it. So that means neither strip would be working. And so it wasn't a bad backlight all along. It was the fact that somebody broke this connector and didn't know how to fix it. So we're going to start by mixing up some epoxy, and I'm going to try to get it down into the crack there and leave a layer on the back side of the board for extra strength. Now I'll place a little weight on it here to hold everything in place. And while waiting on that, Mike went to work on finding those standoffs. He found some designs online that can be 3D printed, which means it must be quite common for people to misplace these things. You'd be surprised how often we 3D print some part in this business. I mean, the printer gets used almost every day for something. Okay, now that the epoxy is cured, I'm going to scrape away the mask layer on this PCB so I can expose the copper of the traces. And then I'm going to take a very tiny piece of solid copper wire and bend it into a rounded 90-degree angle, like so. Next, I'm going to squeeze it as flat as I can with these pliers. And then I'll add some solder to the board, and I want to make sure that these things stick well, so I'm going to dip it in flux. And here we go. I'll get to work attaching it. And there we go. The traces are fixed. By the time I was done with that, the 3D printing was done, so now you can see what these things are supposed to look like. Now it's time to reassemble everything. Brand new LEDs are going in here. Okay, LEDs are done. Time to put the reflector back on. And that's where these little standoffs go. They just pop into these holes like this. Now the diffuser can go back on top, and the standoffs will make sure that it stays the proper distance from the backlight. Now we just have to put everything else back together. Now we're going to plug it in and test it out. That looks much better. This monitor is now ready to go back into an arcade machine and out on the floor to be played. Okay, well that's it. I hope you check out some of our other videos, and I hope to see you at the arcade.